You know, folks, today is another great day in American politics because Donald Trump has been exposed yet again for the fraud that he is. Because earlier today, he lost tens of millions, maybe hundreds of millions, maybe billions of dollars like that. In an instant, he lost it all. I wonder when Donald Trump's supporters, the MAGA Republicans specifically, are going to realize that Donald Trump is a scammer grifter and he's not this successful businessman that they believe him to be out of sheer brilliance, but rather he is a scammer. You know, he's a fraud. He doesn't do this in a legitimate way and he hasn't made his money in legitimate ways. Essentially, what I'm talking about is Donald Trump's failing social media platform and business, Truth Social. Now, there have been conversations for a while now, like months, that Truth Social was failing. They didn't have as much money as Donald Trump was proclaiming, and they weren't as successful as Trump and his buddies were saying. But now we know that to be true. 100% factual. Truth Social is on the downswing of business. Basically, what I'm talking about is earlier today, Donald Trump's Truth Social company posted its new financials to the SEC. You can see it on your screen right now. And the firm generated just $4.1 million with an M, not with a B, not billion, 4.1 million revenue for all of 2023, while racking up $58 million in net losses. This is not a joke. This is not an April Fool's prank. This is the reality of Donald Trump's Truth Social company, which he consistently brags about, saying it's America's social media platform, that the truth is over there. Well, not quite, Donald, because you're out, $54 million in the year of 2023. And actually, we have the documents for profits and losses. And as you can see at the top in revenue, it shows, $4.1 million. And then all the way down there at the bottom with net profit / loss, you can see $58 million in losses for this company for the year of 2023. And I just want to highlight a response to this news, which I thought was particularly interesting. This is a post on Twitter from Brandon Friedman. He said, to put these numbers in normal person terms, this is mathematically equivalent to your small business having $500,000 in revenue last year and you determining that it's worth $737 million. This is the valuation that Trump and his company have set for the Truth Social brand. When I read this tweet, it kind of reminds me, for anybody that's ever watched Shark Tank, these businesses that go in there and overvalue their company greatly, and then they get grilled by these skilled investors. And this is what kind of reminds me of. Like, this is insane. But the timing of this news is very important because not only does it show that Truth Social is failing and that Donald Trump is not the genius businessman he claims to be, but the Truth Social company recently went public, which means that they are now trading on the stock market. And originally, the stock price went very high, increased a lot. And that increased Donald Trump's net worth by a lot subsequently. And Republicans and the Trump campaign and the people around him were bragging about this massive increase in his net worth because the stock was so high. I think it went around $60, $70 on its first day of trading or something like that. But in response to this news, investors acted accordingly. And as you can see by the stock price on your screen, this was earlier today at 2:44 p.m. The stock, the Trump Truth Social stock, went down in one day by 20.97%, a 21% decrease in one day for the Trump stock, inevitably losing Trump and his shareholders tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars, billions of dollars in value for the company and obviously their own personal net worths. And this is why it's such a great day, because I think that this is so funny and just completely obliterates the Republican talking point that Donald Trump is a genius businessman. This is a guy who has had multiple different businesses go bankrupt. Some of them went public and subsequently went bankrupt as well. And I think Truth Social is on the same path. You're operating with massive losses, $4 million in profit, $58 million in losses. Any other business that has these kind of numbers would be closing up shop. And I don't think we're that far away from Truth Social doing the same. But I also think there's an important addition to this story. It's not just that, Donald Trump grifted his way into a social media platform, framing it as like the new Twitter or the new truth for America. But it also follows a long pattern of Donald Trump fraudulently becoming wealthy. This wealth being artificially increased to say that he's a much better businessman than he is. But, we just learned recently in the Trump business fraud trial in New York City that that's not true. That he is consistently throughout his business career, aside from politics, inflated his net worth or lied or cheated to get ahead. He's not a skilled businessman. He's no Steve Jobs. He is a grifter. And as you can see in this Associated Press article summing up this business fraud trial in New York City, they write, in addition to the $355 million penalty, payback of what the judge deemed ill-gotten gains from his spurious financial statements, Trump is required to pay interest on that amount. And the important part there is the ill-gotten gains. Donald Trump did not make the money that he made in New York City, the majority of it at least, in a fair way that followed the law and followed the rules of business and banking and whatever. He made it in a fraudulent way. And here's the really important part of that ruling, which connects to this story. Associated Press, again, writes, Engeron found that Trump's phony wealth claims were critical to his success, affording him lower loan interest rates and allowing him to build projects he wouldn't have otherwise been able to finish. The judge determined that those savings and windfall profits were, quote, as I mentioned, ill-gotten gains, and ordered him and his co-defendants to cough them up to the state with interest. So that's the thing, MAGA. You've been duped. You've been lied to into believing that Donald Trump is some skilled businessman, when in reality, he owes almost $500 million in New York City for fraud with ill-gotten gains that he shouldn't have been able to get and receive. And now he lost tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in one day. One day, a dramatic decrease in his net worth. And it shows you that Truth Social, this business that Donald Trump has proclaiming is so rich and so great and so wealthy, is not. And it's all a lie. And a lot of these MAGA folks have bought in to that lie and, quite frankly, continue to do so. And even now, even after we see this stock plummet dramatically in one day, we see that the judge in New York has ruled that Donald Trump is in fact a fraud and that he got a bunch of cash from ill-gotten gains. MAGA won't care. And that's the important point here, I think, as well, is that MAGA will not care no matter what Trump does. He could shoot someone on Fifth Ave, according to him, and he wouldn't lose any votes. And in many cases, that does seem to be the case with a lot of these Trump supporters. But the logical Americans out there can see Donald Trump for what he is, and that's a fraud, right? This just further proves it. He's losing a bunch of cash in one day, and I expect the Trump Truth Social stock to continue to plummet because these numbers are just so appalling. And as I mentioned earlier, any other business would be closing their doors right now because of how insane these numbers are. And as I've said before, when Donald Trump has a bad day, America has a great day. And I think we're all feeling that today, just seeing how bad this situation is for Donald Trump. So anyway, folks, that's going to wrap it up for today. Just wanted to quickly update you on this story. And I really appreciate you being here. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment. Let me know what you think about this. And of course, share the video with friends and family. It goes such a long way. So I really appreciate if you would do all those things. And as I always say at the end of these videos, got to keep the faith, got to keep working hard. And if we do that, we will get what we want in 2024 and make sure that Donald Trump does not get into the Oval Office again.